All right. No, it's been. I work in a food truck, and been a long, hot day, and my mind's gone. Right now, I have energy in the beginning of the day, and I'm a morning person. By the end, I'm just. And I like being a morning person. But anyways, but I made that one video one time about tools, and my mind's been gone, and I I realized I've got another tool that that I need to talk about. And like later on, this my coworker Caleb came in, and we were talking, and he was just like, yeah, mental fatigue's a real thing, you know. And he starts talking about it, and so I was like, yeah, no, I definitely need to make a video. Um, but it's a weird one. It's a weird one. But I think I'll have an explanation at the end. But but I wasn't tired until the end of the day. I got some good sleep last night, some sober sleep. But that's just it. It's over the past few days. See, my brain's just gone right now. Over the past few days, I've been cutting back on my alcohol, and I've quit alcohol. I can quit alcohol, but that I can't fucking quit. But I'll quit it. I will. But I've been cutting back on the alcohol because yeah, I want a good day at work, and I had a good day at work today, but I messed up this order, and it was after messing up this order that I thought, hey, this is another tool. Um, Possibly not. Well, what do you guys think? But yeah, no. Every time I quit alcohol, my brain goes. I think when you quit alcohol, your brain starts to get dehydrated, and so now my experience with it as a tool is this. Like I was on the streets for about 3 years, um, and in total, during those 3 years, I was probably on the streets for about 2 years, and the other year, Teresa would take me in because the streets just got exhausting, which is what I'm talking about right now. Um, it's fucking hot in Albuquerque. If you don't have air conditioning, um, it's fucking hot here if you don't have air conditioning. Um, and I was writing. I was working. Like believe it or not, all people who work. I work for a living. I work. Like writing, which you can sometimes get paid for and sometimes not. But writing is work. If you allow it to. Like some people, they don't allow it to, and it's just like, ew, don't do it. But anyways, um, so I start writing it like right as the sun's coming up, and I keep writing for the next 6 hours, and then probably take a bit of a rest, and then towards the evening, I would just start thinking about the story, you know, thinking about it, thinking about it, thinking about it, and then for the next day, I'd either boom jump on what I'm thinking about, or do something that or do something new, something inspired. I don't know, but fasting is definitely a fucking tool. And I think I've talked about that one because, like, if you want to put emotion onto the page, you need to work your organs, you know. But if your organs are being worked by all this food that you ate, then it's gonna be a lot harder. Because your organs produce your emotions, right? Emotions are just biochemical equations. But my experience with exhaustion is this. I'd read a story, and I'd be like, yay, I wrote a story, and then I read another one, yay, I wrote a story, and then I read another one. But eventually I just start getting more and more exhausted, and it's like some of my favorite stories were when I was just like, my body was just dead. I was dead, you know. My mind was dead, my body was dead. I was carrying this 80-pound plus pack. I was a lot bigger because I started smoking like a year before I left the streets, you know, but I was much bigger than I am right now. But I don't think I could carry an 80-pound pack right now. Maybe a 60. But, hey, Smokey, leave him alone. Unless Boo's messing with you, then don't take his shit. Um, do 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 do. Yeah, you know, I mean, but you know, I think there's something to this because it's like if you're exhausted and you're writing, it's, you know, I mean, it's like it's very very hard to write for me when I'm in pain. I have to be in a comfortable space, you know, and you know, I was on the streets, but you know, I just tuned out the city because everybody's just so unhappy in the city, and I was in my own little world, uh, you know, and it's fucking beautiful waking up. If you've ever camped, just wake up, fresh air and the stars. Um, and so, but like exhaustion is like a third state, I think. Exhaustion is kind of like a third state in between pain and comfort. And it's a dangerous stage to create or write in because it's like in baseball, it's either a home run or a strikeout, you know? Um, and so, yeah, no, you can be really, really stupid when you're exhausted. But when I write in that state, I'm just like this one time I was writing this story. I didn't even have a name for it. It's just called a video game story, and it's one of my favorite stories ever. Totally. But I was just like, yeah, this is the best story ever. This is awesome. Like I was like freaking manic depressive, you know. And I'm not manic depressive, you know. Just totally not. Some people are, I guess. But I like at this point in time, I was just like on this high, and it was just like do, fuck yeah. And it was just I was just having fun with it. But I don't know. Some of my best writing experiences have come when I've been exhausted, you know. And I think there's something to this, though. I think there's something to this because I was in college and I had this math professor. And we were doing Euclidean and non-Euclidean geometry. And man, he was a really good professor, you know. Um, I would say maybe 10, 20% of the professors I came across were like really good. Um, most are probably average, and the rest are just really bad. But anyways, uh, no, he was talking one time, and he said he was trying to like he was giving us life advice, like I'm giving you life advice right now. Because he said he was doing this math equation one time, and he was trying to figure it out. He was trying to figure it out. He was trying to figure it out, and he said he just couldn't do it. He just couldn't figure this equation out. He just tried and tried and tried and tried and tried, and eventually he just got exhausted, and he just laid down for rest. He was just resting, and he I forgot when, but it was like during the rest period. All of a sudden, a light bulb went off in his head. You know, all of a sudden, this light bulb went off in his head, and what he was saying was that, you know, he didn't say it in the same way I'm about to, because this is how I kind of see it. But he was basically saying the same thing. Now he said, he was saying, I think your brain gets so focused that you have to just unfocus it. You know. But at the same time, it's kind of like a whole brain experience, you know, because like a whole brain would be what he's talking about, you know. It's just it's kind of like you know, you need your brain needs your brain are like your muscles. They need to work, but it also needs its rest, you know. You need to fart and laugh every now and then. But if you're exhausted and yet you're doing something that you love, if you're doing something that you love, then your mind and your soul are in a state of rest. Now your mind is also in a state of exhaustion, and your body's in a state of exhaustion. Um, and so that's how I see it. That's how I see it. So that's kind of like a tool that I've been using. It's just like sometimes I'll just drive myself to exhaustion, and you know, sometimes some of the best, or some of my most favorite writings that I've done have always been in that state. And so that's a different tool, you know. Um, but anyways, that's it.